Hey guys, and welcome to a new video. Today is Tuesday, so that means we're doing another tutorial Tuesday. And today we're going to be checking out this cool little glitch magnify effect transition that you can use on your videos. It's pretty cool and very simple to do. It just takes some time. This effect will actually be in my drag and drop effects pack coming to you very, very soon. So all you have to do to create this effect is click the new item button and select adjustment layer. Make sure the adjustment layer is the size of your sequence and click OK. Once we have that adjustment layer, we can drag it down over our clips. All you have to do is click up and down till you get to the middle of your transition, and then hold the shift key and the left arrow key 4 times because that will jump you out 20 frames in that direction. Every time you hold the shift key and an arrow key, it'll jump you 5 frames. So 5, 10, 15, 20. And then I hit C on my keyboard and delete it. So now we have this adjustment layer that we can start modifying our clip. The way this effect works is using a ton of magnify effects and placing them on different spots of your clip using a bunch of grids and an effect called turbulent displace to get a lot of different glitchy and trippy effects. So I'm going to show you a few techniques that will help you take this transition to the next level. In the simplest terms, if I go to the effects and type in magnify, there is a video effects distort magnify, and we're going to drag that onto our adjustment layer. Once you have the magnify, you'll see that you can either create a circle or a square. For this tutorial, I'm going to keep everything square because I think those look the best. You have the ability to change your center position by dragging the X and Y values, or you can come over here and select the center crosshairs and drag those to your desired location. I'm going to start dragging it over there. Now keep in mind this will look different on every single clip. So I'm going to go back to the beginning and change the magnification to 100 because that will make everything normal. I'm going to go a couple frames to the right and start dragging my magnification up a little bit. You'll see that our shape is a square, and we can start to change this shape all by using mask. So under the magnify, you can select create 4-point polygon mask, and that will give us a mask point that we can use to mask out our mirror image. So for example, if I wanted to select both of these sides and drag this across, I will get a magnified line, and sometimes that looks really cool. So typically when I make these transitions, I will create some magnifications that zoom in, and then I'll create other magnifications that just kind of pop around to different sizes. Right click on your effect and click copy, and then right click down here and paste, and that'll paste your current magnify effect. Going into the second effect, we can start to manipulate this guy by dragging him around, and let's completely delete the mask because I don't want that mask. One tip I'll show you is we currently have this set to zoom in, and it's a very smooth zoom in. But for this one, I want to delete all the keyframes and make this hop all over the place. So in order to do this, we're going to set a keyframe by using the add or remove keyframe button right here, and I'm going to right click on my keyframe and go to hold. What hold does is it'll hold that keyframe until I get to a desired area, and then it'll pop to that next keyframe that I have it at. So if I set 150, instead of scaling up to 150, it'll hold 100 and then pop up to 150. You can use this throughout your transition to make your magnification pop around. So as you can see right there, we go up to 150 and then we drop down to 120. And typically this will be used a lot when I am trying to make something flickered. Now that that's there, we can also play around with the opacity of our transition layer. So for example, this big one, I'm going to make 50% on the opacity so that it'll blend in a little bit more. So I'm going to go through here, and I'm going to create a 4-point polygon mask, and I'm just going to drag this over here, and I'm going to make this one vertical by selecting these edges and dragging them down like so. Cool. And then I'm going to drag this mask right there. The nice thing about using this technique is you can constantly adjust all of the magnifies within your project to get a desired effect if you wanted some softer edges or stuff like that. So moving forward, we're going to copy and paste the next magnify, delete all the keyframes, and start from scratch. So clicking on the magnify, we can see that we are in the center. So this one I'm going to drag in the bottom left corner and then change the opacity to 100. Start the magnification at 100. Go a couple frames and change this to 115. I'm going to right click on those keyframes and select hold, and right click on that keyframe and select hold, and then keep going a little bit further and type in 100. And I want this to be a little flicker effect, so 105, and then I'm just going to keep changing these parameters around till I get something that I like. And then I'm going to go back down to 110. Keep in mind that you can change the center of your magnification as well. So if I wanted to go through here and keyframe the center, I'm going to right click on that point and go to temporal interpolation and select hold, just so that I can make this guy move anywhere throughout my project. This is really effective if you want to completely modify and customize your transition. I'm pretty much just dragging this around wherever I want, and then moving a couple frames, and then moving it to another location. It's very easy to do. So now looking at our sequence, we're starting to get some magnification pops here and there. And also I'm noticing that this one in the middle is kind of stagnant and it's not really doing anything. So in order to find out which one of these layers is affecting that middle one, you can just click the FX button and that'll toggle or untoggle the transition layer. So I know that is my first one. So let's go through here and start manipulating this guy a little bit more. So I'm going to change the magnification down to 100, just like so. It's nice to play around with ones that zoom in and ones that zoom back out, as well as playing with the ones that pop, because it changes it up a little bit. We're going to copy another magnify layer and start modifying that one. So we're also going to change around some of the center points just so it changes it up a little bit. And this time I want to play with the opacity. So I'm going to go from 100 down to 50, and then I'm going to make it come back up to 100 at the end. And we're going to do one more magnify layer, and then this time I'm going to delete everything and create a completely new one. So I'm going to reset all these parameters. I want to drag this guy down to the lower right side, go a couple frames, change the size to 140, and then drag him up there. That looks cool. So after doing this a couple times, you'll see that we've used the magnify effect 5 times, and we're already getting some trippy transition right here, which I really like. In order to further this effect, you can add some grid effects like I showed you in my previous tutorial. If you haven't seen that, check out the video linked in the description down below, because that will make this process a lot easier. And we'll go a couple frames and change the mask opacity to 0, go back forward and change it to 50. So that's looking good. We have some grid effects going on in the first part of our transition. And if you guys want, you can spend the time to get a perfect mask by dragging your edges around. So once you're happy with that grid, you can either right-click and add another grid. So copy, right-click, and then select paste. And then go into that grid settings and customize those. Typically, I'll just kind of drag these around again, since I've already made some keyframes. And then I'll also change some up as well. And then I'll change my mask around to get a different effect. So let's drag these guys up and drag this over to the side so it's a vertical mask. And then from here, I'm just going to play through this and see what it looks like. So right now you'll see that if I go to this point right here, the magnification is not affecting the grid layer. And if you want the magnification to affect the grid layers, all you have to do is make sure your grid effects are before the magnify effects, then they will be affected. And I highly recommend doing this because Premiere works with effects from top down. Now if we watch the transition, it'll look something like this. In order to take this effect to the next level, all you have to do is go to the Effects tab and type in Turbulent Displace. Drag Turbulent Displace onto your adjustment layer, and you'll instantly notice that this looks whack. So we have to do some adjustments. Under the Turbulent Displace, change the displacement to either vertical displacement or horizontal displacement, or any displacement that you like. And then we're going to drag the amount to around 200, and then change the size to, let's say, 20. I like dragging my complexity to 10, and then this is where we get to have some fun. So under here, all we're going to do is create a bunch of different masks. So I'm going to select my square right here, and then I'm going to create another mask and drag this down to here. I highly recommend playing around with different masks and moving them around and changing the size or what they look like, because honestly, creating multiple masks will lead to a better looking transition. Some of this is very tedious, and then from here, you can do the same effect as far as changing your mask opacities. I'll typically scroll a couple frames and then change them around on all of the transitions to make them look like they're flickering in and out. And this is a nice process you can use to go through a couple masks at a time. So once you're happy with how your masks look, you can play your transition. And just like that, we have created the Magnify Glitch transition. If you guys liked today's video, be sure to click that thumbs up and subscribe, because I'm going to be making some more stuff in the future. I'll see you next time.